In Nigeria, violence is rocking the northeast. Boko Haram and is suspected in an attack on the outskirts of Maiduguri. At least 8 people were killed as the terrorists clashed with soldiers. This is the second assault in a week on a city they hope to make the capital of an Islamic state. Elsewhere, twin explosions kill 5 people in the city of Gombe. The first bomb attack in a market killed 2. Moments later, a suicide bomber killed a soldier and 2 others at a checkpoint. It's unclear if Boko Haram was behind these attacks. Amid the Boko Haram insurgency and administrative hurdles, tens of millions of Nigerians could be unable to vote in this month's general election. The February 14th ballot will be the first election in the young democracy's history, in which polls suggest a close race between 2 rival candidates. For more on the Nigeria elections and its challenges, I'm joined now by Nii Akuetteh. He's a former executive director of African Nation. Nii, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Tell us, why has this election not been postponed with all the chaos and possible violence?
I think there is a lot of heightened suspicion of each other's motives. In fact, a person very close to the president, his national security advisor, was on publicly called last week, which surprised me, that they want the elections postponed for a few weeks so that some of the cards can get to voters, and the Electoral Commission said no. So I actually think, even if there are chances of complaints, I think postponing it, in my reading, would have caused an uproar.
Mm-hmm. What's behind the delay in these electoral cards not being delivered?
That's a great question. I don't think there is a good answer, because the Electoral Commission in Nigeria is actually highly respected, especially the Professor Jega, who runs it, and he's been held up as exemplary. Mm-hmm. But for this particular year, they have distributed only half of the cards, and in a year. Now, they do claim that with the couple of weeks they have, they can do the other half of the cards to the 30 million people who haven't received their cards. So we don't know why they haven't done it, but they claim they can do it.
Will people really turn out with the threat of violence?
You know, the threat of violence is in the northeast. So my expectation is that, no, the voting there will be suppressed, because as you mentioned at the top, I mean, Boko Haram just attacked Maiduguri again. I mean, the second time, the army beat them back. We know that they leveled and bent out Baga, and they can strike anywhere. They've even struck in Abuja before. But still, the area of operation is around Maiduguri and to the Chad border. So the rest of the country, which is about 90% of Nigeria, they haven't struck there. So I expect voting there. The question will be, will the loser say that because in the northeast there wasn't enough voting, that changes the outcome?
Muhammad Buhari, the contender, the main contender, says that Goodluck Jonathan, the current president, obviously has not done enough to ouster this whole Boko Haram group. Could he have done more? What more could he be doing?
You know, I happen to think personally, actually, that the charges must be seen as part of the electoral campaign. When you are challenging somebody, it doesn't matter what they've done, you have to say they haven't done enough. Boko Haram has been there since 2002. They've been violent for 5 years. I actually thought that Jonathan has made efforts. Clearly, he has not contained the problem, but I think he has tried. You know, he imposed a state of emergency on the area. For the first 3 years, he was accused of being too heavy-handed, abusing human rights, saying that you ought to talk to them because it's about poverty. And now, in the midst of the election, they have flipped the charges around that, oh, you know, you don't care, you are not trying, you haven't solved the problem. So I think a lot of it is electoral talk.
You say this election is too close to call. What will be a deciding factor?
I think actually it will be the pattern of voting. How the various regions vote. Clearly, General Buhari, I expect him to sweep the north, and President Jonathan to sweep the south east. Now, then we have the southwest and the middle belt. And those will be the areas of contention. So I'm going to watch those areas very well. Also, the charges against President Jonathan, the question is does it resonate with people? A lot of analysts give the impression that they think General Buhari will win because people are tired of President Jonathan.
Right.
But I'm not sure what people down on the street are looking at. So I'll stay up watching the results very closely.
Nii Akuetteh, thank you so much. Pleasure seeing you.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Appreciate it.